Okay, Monday, May 11th. I think May 11th, I don't know. Whatever. You know, a few things as this thing looks like it's going away, but isn't. Use this time to kind of work through the emotions of being angry and figure out how to direct that anger in a righteous way. Because this is a small window, you know. And these evil scumbags that are behind all of this, they truly do look at humanity as a virus. And they are trying to contain that virus in their eyes, instead of seeing the beauty of life and what humanity is. These people want to control it, they want to control others, and they look at that free spirit as a toxin, you know. Well, in reality, we're the opposite of that. If you really ask yourself, what the hell did you come here for? Because you chose to be here. Chose to be here for this. You know, it's whether or not you remember that or not that activates that spirit within when you look around and see it all. I mean, it makes complete sense. You didn't come here to run the Monopoly board and to collect things and to just have pleasures of the flesh. And you know what I mean? There's a whole lot more, obviously, going on here when you stop and realize that the entirety of human freedom is at stake here with what they want to do and what they want to bring in. So, how do you combat that? Well, just as the sick and disgusting elites look at us as the virus, we know they are the virus. And that the truth is the cure, and you are the vessel for that truth. So, the more we spread that truth and multiply that truth and grow that truth into public awareness, then they, as the virus, will dissipate. They're trying to do the same thing to us. They're trying to contain those of us that will speak out, or scare people that are contemplating it with, you know, brutality, videos, you know, those damn cops in Australia arresting that woman, and then with her kid, and then that man with the two babies, you know. I can tell you one thing, the woman wasn't propaganda. You're not getting a crisis actor kid to behave that way. You know, this is, you know, twofold in what it does. It angers people and puts them in a state of emotional and irrational thinking when you see something like that. And it also puts fear into other people to not resist, you know. Everything that they're doing is psychological. And when you realize that all of the power to change that lies within you, just as you've been taught, whether or not you've externalized that factor in some way, be it religion or politics or whatever, realize that these are internal aspects that will bring about change within you, which then can bring about change within the world. These are the things they don't want. So, ask yourself, why did you come here at this time while human freedom is on the brink of extinction? Humanity as we know it is on the brink of extinction. Don't you think there might be a connection? So, you know, some of the challenges we face, which I've explained to you, I go through, are managing the anger and the emotions. But that's part of moving through and accepting what's actually going on as you're stepping into your role as a bringer of this truth to people. You know, I had it work more often than not. When I talk to people, I would say I have it work more often than not. I wouldn't say had, I continue to do it as recently as yesterday. The response is, you'd be surprised, you know. I mean, I'm not sitting there saying argue with a blockhead, but, you know, without having to scare people into the whole new order end of humanity thing, just dropping common sense seeds to people helps them to think, you know. Just true aspects of how you would treat this, if it was a true pandemic, some of the lunacy we're seeing, some of the other aspects of what's going on economically, and of course, when it pertains to human rights and individual rights, that things like these trackers and these vaccines, you know, even people that are for vaccines that I'm aware of aren't for forcing them on others. That's going to be government's job, you see. So by making people aware, you know, that these things are coming, because a lot of people don't. They really expect things to go back to normal. They can't really contemplate the level of evil and planning that has gone into it, you know. Most people that are awake understand that because they've been talking about various aspects of this for years. So it's clear to many people, but not to the you know, mindless herd that just kind of seeks, you know, their daily chores and, you know, are trying to understand why they can't find purpose even if they make tons of money, and, you know, because they've been ignoring all of this, you know. These things, once people really start to see how stupid this is going to get, may blossom in them if you have planted prior seeds, you know. So really that's what this is all about right now. Because, you know, as much as I do like to see the protests like we were talking about last night with Lisa and Jackie, or I was talking about last night with Lisa and Jackie, I like to see people, you know, not social distancing and not wearing the masks. But make no mistake, as Max pointed out, these are things that they want, and Jackie pointed it out too, and I've pointed it out before in the past, you know. These are things that they want. They want division, they want civil unrest. They know how to manage that stuff. You know, the agent provocateurs will make their way in eventually. You can see in some aspects they already are. But worse, the, you know, violent hand of the police, as we've seen in, I don't know, how many countries, particularly France, where they attempt to sabotage those protests. That's how they keep control, you know, fear, you know, dependency on that authoritative aspect to keep peace. When really, it's just about us not cooperating with our enslavement, saying no to the vaccines, the tests, not putting our kids back in school if they're prison camps and require all of these things. They're full of 5G, 60 gigs, and all this nonsense. It's about being aware. So if people aren't aware of these things, they can't challenge it when the times are coming. Because, like I said, most people that are buying this are expecting this to go back to normal. And it's not going to happen unless people choose it. So these are some of the aspects I usually talk about when it comes to stepping in to, I know it sounds cliche, you know, step into it, embody it. But, you know, these are the exact things that were taught to humanity in various cultures and aspects, all similarly at their core, teaching the same aspects of morality, being used against us for thousands of years by those that suppress that actual information and invert it and use it to control, you know. That's why studying different aspects outside your particular belief system is so important to the opening up of the fault lines of division that have been put there, because that is a lot of what I saw going on, even in a peaceful way. But at the California protest that Joe Embriani was showing, a lot of political signs and religious connotations and division and, you know, pointing of fingers, and, you know, that's just going to keep us right in this. I mean, that's their game, you know, and they've won it for centuries, eons, thousands of years. So it's an amazing time, you know. It certainly is not easy at times when dealing with the emotions. You know, like I say, I'll watch a clip like that from Australia that Max will put out or wherever I saw them, and it just enrages me, you know. But that kind of anger needs to be channeled properly, you know. It needs to be felt, needs to be expelled properly, and then it needs to be focused on getting people to understand that, you know, we're not going to go through this again. Haven't we learned enough yet? Through very recent history even, that we're not going to live this way. You know, and people have closed their eyes to so many things. It's really impossible now, you know. Because even if you believe in the fairy tales coming out of the propagandized box, the solutions that they're bringing in are the same solutions that people who are aware of what this is are telling you. We're talking about forced vaccines. We're talking about forced testing, forced removals, you know, forced trackers. You know, a complete Orwellian response to this. So if that's not enough to get people to say, well, wait a minute, you know, then those of us that will continue to challenge this need to continue to do so. All right, we're going to go this way. We're making our way out. Because this window between now and whether it's the second wave or the causation of the food chain, you know, shortages, or you know, the implementation of mandatory testing and people going knocking door to door, whatever it is, continuance lockdown of businesses. While this is occurring and getting worse and worse, because the damage has already been done to the economy, those ramifications will be felt. These are the times we need to use. This is the time we need to use to spread information as best we can. David Icke, don't forget, on BitChute, he released a great interview today that he did. He's always very, very succinct and very easy to follow as he's connecting dots. I highly suggest it, especially if you're new to him. I'll attach it with this. You know, spreading information, talking to people, and, of course, overcoming your own fears of what's to come. Because, you know, no matter how much courage we have, we don't know what they're going to bring. So you need to mentally prepare for whatever it may be, you know, which is what it means to stand in truth no matter what. Because once you're in that mindset, you're not changing it. It doesn't matter. Because you've come to the awareness of what you're doing here, of what, let's take this little trail here, of what your purpose is, of what's actually going on here. And there really is nothing else. You know, you're going to go back to you know, television and, you know, time-consuming nonsense, you know, once you really realize all of this and it starts coming in around you. So you step into it, you know, and you keep learning. And you keep taking the time to take care of yourself. You know, as we even talked about last night, once again, on the podcast, you know, it's hard work to take a look at yourself and your own behavior and your own life choices and you know, various aspects of where you are in your life, and take full responsibility for those choices, good or bad, and then embrace them and take the lessons from them and then make yourself a better person. You know, most people just kind of continue on their current course, which is what most people want, to just get back to normal now and get back to occupying the mind and, you know, making their survival pieces of paper and, you know, competing for the better car, and, you know, for some people, you know, for others, just trying to pay the bills. You know what I mean? All of this minutia that has nothing to do with what these people are trying to do, what they have done. Shutting down all these businesses, putting over 30 million people out of work in this country, making people, forcing them to wear a muzzle, turning people against each other based on false science, ramping this dialectic up through the hideous, horrifying, treacherous media that is just shown who they are, even though we've always known, you know, the realization of how much control these people actually have over the minds of people. You know, it's eye-opening, and it's everything that we've been talking about for years, manifesting in front of us in all aspects, from the introduction of the smart grid, the tracking, the surveillance, the vaccines, the censorship, which is just outrageous. I mean, there is no greater attack going on right now than the attack on David Icke, because, as I've said, if you actually pay attention to that man's work, reference the material, not just on the virus, but on all the aspects of not only this, you know, worldwide conspiracy, but of the true aspects and nature of the self, and then study the sciences in which he references, and then take them deeper into their own traditions. And, you know, once you really start doing those things, there's no coming back from that, unless you really don't want to look at yourself in the mirror. So, you know, silencing him, especially as he connects all of this over a 3-hour interview and discusses these solutions, the strength within, the fear-based mindset of these controllers, and the strength that lies within all of us, you know, I mean, that blows the details of this whole pandemic away, if you ask me. You know, the last 20 minutes of the second video and the entirety of the third is mostly, you know, not about the details of the physical aspects of how they're bringing this in, but rather the solution on finding the courage within you to take in the truth and then be it, live it, become it. You know, that's why when you change your perception and align it with the truth, you then change your behavior. It's not just about, you know, and again, meditation, prayer, all those things are to calm the inner self, to, you know, change energy levels, to commune, to connect, to gain intuition, all those kind of things. They're great things. But what they do is they enhance the mind and the perception into then manifesting behaviors in the world. And if those behaviors are aligned with truth, then, you know, the more people that do that, the more people will walk away from this in a way that doesn't echo the past. The same mistakes we always make, the same condemnation, the same political dialectics, the same division, the same, you know, white knight righteousness based in falsities that actually bring about the ends that these people are trying to bring about, you know. So I guess I'm going to leave it there. Just again, use some time to really deal with it and take in the truth, because even a few seedlings, as time goes on, will blossom. This is not going away. This social distancing for surveillance, this, you know, face masks might eventually be lost. They're going to want your face on the damn camera, but for now they love muzzling and showing you that they're shutting people up and symbolizing that as they muzzle their herd. The symbolism is just everywhere as they mock us with this pandemic, and get ready for pandemic 2, and you know, whatever other hardships that they are choosing to bring in. Make no mistake, this is not being done by, you know, a random breakdown of supplies due to, you know, it's not what's happening here. You know, this has all been orchestrated. And once you realize that, you go, wait a fucking minute, you know. So anyway, I'll attach a few links. Check out the podcast yesterday. It was great talking with Jackie. She's on Twitter, JaxJXX, and I forget the rest. I'll post it on there, Jackie, for you. Sorry, I meant to know that before I spoke, so I could give it out. And of course, Lisa, Defenders of Sanity as well. I think her blog is gone though. I'll post their links as well Lisa's YouTube link. Also, put the podcast up yesterday. Check it out. You know, it's 3 of us, 3 different parts of the country. We might open it up to more and maybe move platforms in the future and try to get people, you know, maybe a Discord chat. You know, we want to try to topically speak. This was our first time together, so we kind of just winged it and just, you know, got to know each other and put it out there. But we really feel that, you know, speaking of the aspects of natural law, not only just in comparison to what's going on here, but as a way of life, needs to be spoken more. And, you know, we may take certain topics and then we haven't really figured it out yet. Again, this is all just a bunch of people that really had no ambitions in life to get on and become YouTubers and talkers and, you know, get likes and all these kinds of things, who just feel we need to speak. We need to encourage others to speak. And if our actions can do that, if some of the things we say can bring, you know, different mindset to people, maybe people that already have our mindset can bring a little laughter, a little calm feeling to know they're not alone, whatever it is, you know. This is why we're doing it, and we'll continue to do it as time goes on. It's why I've jumped on and continued doing this, you know. After Twitter locked me out of my Periscope, I really had no intentions until I put together a proper show that I could run weekly, but, you know, software deficiencies in my head and, you know, other aspects now leading up to this, of course, I've made that to the point where I just started making videos, you know, because our voices need to be heard, and we need to be encouraged by one another to know that this is against all of us. We need to stand together, stop with the high school, grade school divisions that people are being directed into having, that are based in nothingness. They're based in ego and ignorance and fear. We can do this. And if we don't, you know, we ain't gonna sit back and take it, you know what I mean? We're gonna not comply with our own enslavement. That's it, you know? One of the things will be, like I said, not getting all this 5G shit, not bringing all these Wi-Fis in, not bringing the kids back to school if they're going to be full of this stuff. Educating ourselves to the fact that these people are malicious, evil tyrants. The acceptance of that, everything you fucking look around in the world makes sense as to why it is what it is. If you're still trying to tell yourself there's good people in there, everything's like, why the hell is... But once you realize the evil that these people are and the lack of empathy and compassion and heart-based care that they live by, it all makes sense. You know? So, all right. Love you guys. Get learning, get speaking.